So much. And everyone, thank you so much for being here today. I want to just I want to start by if you can send me a little emoji or a react so I know you're here and put your voice in our circle, please. I'm really honored to be asked to teach this today. As you can see, I'm fiddling around with my my screen because I'm still learning this. So while I work on that, I just want to ask you to gather a few things, and if you have to leave your computer, that's okay. I want you to have a piece of paper, actually a couple pieces of paper and a pen. And I want you to also have a snack. So if I'll just give 1 minute for you to gather those things and don't eat your snack yet. We're going to do it together at the end and we're going to practice some of the things that are being talked about here today. So I'll just give a minute for you to gather those necessities.
Okay, I just have to run to our fridge. I'll be right back.
Please. That was such a beautiful prayer. It's so good that we could all be here together and start off that way. Very grateful to you, Callista.
Thank you. I did hear that. I was just getting back to my desk with my snack.
Oh, there's a comment in the chat about your prayer you're going to want to go take a peek at.
Aw, thank you, Jen.
That's a beautiful idea, Robin. If everyone wants to post in the comments and just say where they are at, I'm in Asuya, so I'm on Syilx territory. It's sunny today, not to brag, but we had a big snow last night and it's absolutely stunning here today. Probably gonna go out into the hills after this. Oh, Chetwin. Holy moly, 25. That's too many minuses.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Oh, Kamloops. Wait to cook Kamloops. Oh, wow. Victoria, thank you so much. Daffodils already? Wow. That's exciting. In Chase, oh, awesome. Thanks, Charlene. So beautiful. So if you've got everything gathered, thank you for doing that. It's going to, oh my goodness, Mexico. Wow. It's going to give us a good practice here. I just got a note, Callista, there's a few people in the waiting room still.
Morgan should be on that. She's just vetting everyone before she admits them to make sure they're registered so that we
Got
don't
it.
have any Zoom bombers pop in.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, don't worry about those. We're on it.
Okay, thank you so much. So everyone, I just want to welcome you and congratulate you for taking the first step in healing your relationship with food. How does that feel? I'm so honored that you're here today, and I can't wait to share with you my stories and the tools that I have for you that are going to help you shift your relationship with food. This is such a hard and deep and complex issue. And I'm very honored to be asked by iSpark to help you with this. It is an honor for me to be sharing my teachings and helping you any way I can. And just like have a moment of gratitude as well for iSpark to offering this for all of us because it's such a huge topic. It is so important that we understand what wellness really is so that we can walk through the world in a good way and we can honor our ancestors in everything we do, including our wellness and our food. So I just want to start out by talking about my experience with food, and I want to address this photo here. This is a photo of me teaching at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition back in 2015. And back then, I only was doing nutrition work. I hadn't yet understood how I was understanding food on a deeper level, and I wasn't helping people with their relationship with food yet. I hadn't quite got to the root of it for myself. So in this photo, it's very interesting, but I'm at the front of the classroom. I'm talking to my students about healthy food, and I had completed my diploma in holistic nutrition. I had lots of knowledge about how to eat healthy, and I had authority as a teacher on the faculty of a nutrition school, and yet I was emotional eating. I was not practicing a healthy way of life because even though I had all the knowledge, I hadn't really done my work around healthy eating and what that meant for me. And so it wasn't working for me. Even though I had all this knowledge about what wellness should be, I didn't know about healing. I didn't know about trauma, and I wasn't doing my work. I was really uncomfortable most of the time. I felt like I was carrying a secret. And I felt like people were, I almost felt like people knew I had a secret, but I was good at hiding it. And I had all these stories in my head, like, I don't, I don't deserve wellness. It wasn't worded that way, but that was the feeling. That's the way I was acting, was that somehow I didn't deserve it, or that only people better than me actually could do wellness, especially because I had already finished nutrition school. I thought, well, I already have all this knowledge, and if I'm still not putting it into action, there just must be something really wrong with me, right? Only better people are able to do this. And I had a lot of doubt. I had a lot of doubt about myself and about my choices. And this problem, this emotional eating problem, affected my entire life. It affected all of my relationships. And the worst part was that I was uncomfortable in my own skin every single day. And maybe you relate to some of these pieces that I'm going to share with you today. I experienced anxiety, and my mental health slowly degraded as I lost my power. I lost my sense of self because I wasn't taking care of myself, even though I had all the knowledge and the tools. And it cost me so much. It cost me so much to stay that way, but I didn't think there was another way. I just figured this is who I am. I'm not good enough. That cost me a lot of calm and peace and joy and happiness and presence and gratitude. And as my anxiety and panic started to grow within me, I had this growing dependency on wine and alcohol and sugar to soothe me and to help me forget about the discomfort that I had. Of course, it didn't work, but that's all I had. That's the tool I had back then. So my emotional eating experience was like takeout and chocolate ice cream and eating those things while my nutrition books sat on the coffee table looking at me. It was very, very uncomfortable. So the turning point for me when I realized that something was really off. Something was wrong and something was really missing. I didn't feel whole. I felt very fragmented. I was walking through the world feeling very fragmented. And so my wake-up call to learning about trauma and understanding how we move through the world as we carry it, that that lightning bolt, that light bulb, that hit me like a train. But I remembered one thing. I remembered that when I was in nutrition school, that I had taken a course called Body, Mind, Spirit. And I remembered that, oh, I'm missing the spirit. I'm ignoring this other vital part of wellness. Even though I learned about it, I'm ignoring it. And so if you think about food, every bite we take is really complex, right? So when we eat food, when we buy food and eat it, every bite, there's so many pieces, there's so many layers in it. There's our childhood, there's memories with foods, there's trauma connected with foods, there's ancestral pieces in foods. So our relationship with food has so many layers to it. Then we have the food marketers, grocery stores, farmers, right? There's so many people involved in this relationship. So that's why it's not easy. It's not easy for us to start piecing that apart, peeling it apart. There's layers in there. Now, wellness itself is easy, but when we come to it and we meet it with all of that, with our childhood, memories, trauma, ancestral stuff, when we meet it at that place, it's not easy. It becomes complex. So what I did was I recognized that I was practicing what we call disordered eating. And disordered eating is similar, but not the same to an eating disorder. And what it means is that there's emotions and stuff around our food that's making it problematic for us mentally. So my big brave move was deciding to take a training and learn more about our psychology and our and learn cognitive behavioral therapy around food to help people. And I took the course for myself, but then I was able to help others with their relationship with food because it wasn't about the food anymore, right? It's all about this. So so I took this training now. I can help people with eating disorders, disordered eating. Okay, this is like way deeper than the work I had, been doing before, where I'm like talking to people about eating more salads and eating more carrots. Now we're digging in a little deeper to the psychology of it. And so it's a more intimate place, it's a more vulnerable place. And I had to really learn how to hold people when they were sharing these very intimate things with me about their complex relationship with their ancestral stuff, their traumas, their memories, their childhood stuff with food. And that's where we actually can make shifts with our food. And I learned that so many ways. Now, if I just give people a menu plan or even a list of like, here's all the foods that you can eat, all these good, healthy, whole foods, this is what you should be eating, it doesn't help them because there's so much more going on in the story over here. So after I took that training, which was only a couple years after I had finished my nutrition training, I began to have to do my personal healing work. Okay. It was all this stuff I didn't want to deal with. Oh no, 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 no. I don't want to look at that. But I had to look at it because once you look at it, you actually take its power away. And that's the most amazing thing about doing this work with healing your relationship with food is that once you look at those uncomfortable things that you've been avoiding or using food to cover up, you actually have more control because now you can take action. Okay. So send me an emoji if you're still here with me. If you're listening and you're like, yes, I'm understanding, send me like a heart or a clapping. Yes, thank you. Okay. So the aftermath of all that work is that my life and mindset had to change a lot. And this is that sort of that vulnerable, intimate place I talked about. Thank you for all the love. I'm so grateful you're here. My life and mindset changed so much because I started getting into that self-development realm. Okay. So I I kind of put aside the food and I digged into this side of it, the emotional side, the mental side, the ancestral side. This self-development work really increased my life in so many ways. I had more positive people come into my life, and I actually became more of myself. I was able to stop my emotional eating for good using some of the tools I'm going to give you today. And I actually was able to move into a place of emotional maturity instead of eating my feelings and making jokes about it. Now, I like to joke that I'm half philosopher, half clown, because laughter is good medicine and jokes are good. But when it comes to our wellness and our healing, when we're making jokes about it, it means we're not taking it seriously and there's something there for us to look at, right? So why am I telling you all of this? Okay, so this story is the start, the very seed of the healing journey that led me to the work I do today, which is combining wellness with traditional healing. So I have teachers, elders, medicine men I listen to, I work with, I go to sweats, I facilitate ceremony. I'm doing my life purpose now every day, and it's not just food. So this journey of actually like opening that door and looking at all this stuff I didn't want to sent me on a really beautiful healing journey that was really hard, really, really hard. And it was so worth it because life is so good now. And I'm so connected with my Métis ancestors, my Cree ancestors, my Scottish and Irish ancestors. I also looked deeply at all of my ancestry, my Métis, my Cree, my Irish, my Scottish, and I went, oh, drinking, drinking. It's in my blood. I have to heal my relationship with this too, so I can get on the red road and act in integrity with my people, with my clients, and with my community. This April, I will be 5 years sober, and it's the best thing I ever did. And everyone says, oh, everyone said, it'll get better, just keep going. And I'm like, well, maybe we'll see. And now I get to be the one to say that to people. Just keep
Just
going,
keep
it
going.
gets
It gets
better.
better.
2 years,
2 years,
your life
your
does
life.
that. 5 years, your life does that again. It just gets so good. And now my life, I have so much gratitude, so much presence. I'm peaceful and calm the way that I always wanted, the way that I always wanted life to feel and hoped that it would. And so this work led me to animism and the old ways, which is now the foundation of the work that I do to help people feel whole again and to feel comfortable in their skin. And I think that's probably part of why you're here today, is that you want that too. And that you want to also walk through the world in a good way and practice wellness in a way that feels easy. And that's what we're going to do today. So, this points, all of these, problems I'm talking about, all this discomfort in the body, so much of that points to there's bigger issues in our society, right? Now, all of these things that I've put here that are distractions and addictions for people, these things are literally just the tip of the iceberg because these are things we use to distract ourselves from the deeper problems. Now, you're showing up today, and I obviously don't know what you're bringing, but there might be something on this list, and all those Amazon boxes are for online shopping because I have seen that be an issue for folks many times. It's so easy, right? It's accessible now. We can just hop online and spend our time shopping and ordering stuff. All these things that we can spend our time doing are things that are distracting us from the work that we need to do to find ourselves, to feel whole again, and can be a distraction for our relationship with Creator. So it's a bit of an uncomfortable list to look at, but again, there's, I didn't put casinos on here. There's so many other things that could be on here. This is like just a small sampling of the problems that we have that are acting as solutions, but they're actually just band-aids that we're trying to use to cover up discomfort. So, yeah, so when I had my wake-up call to trauma, that's when I kind of realized, oh, I'm not a bad person. Of course, I'm not a bad person. Just bad things happened, and I need to look at them and acknowledge them. And so that body, mind, spirit, that course that I took, I was like, oh, that's what I'm missing. Spirit and the medicine. That's what I need. That's what I'm missing. I already spoke to that. So I put the eagle here for leadership because I had to step into my role when I stepped into doing the work that I'm doing today. It was because I had more tools, I had more knowledge, I had done the work myself, I had done the healing for myself, and I kind of had to let go of the title of nutritionist because I'm like, well, that's not quite what I'm doing anymore. It's definitely a part of my story and it's part of my teachings and my education, and it's what I do. But I realized that I was actually just doing trauma healing with people because a nutritionist doesn't help people with that. Uh, Sugar, addictions, counting food, weighing food, having fear around food, having guilt about eating certain foods, counting calories, and obsessing about food. All of those things only made me realize this person doesn't have a food problem. They have trauma. So I had to go through my own initiations and rites of passage in order to step into the work that I do today. And those initiations and rites of passage included radical healing and a mental health crisis. And I should be on medication today, but I'm not. Thank Creator, because I did my work. I did my work and I stepped into it and I honored doing that work. Okay, so here's something I want you to do. I want you to type into the chat and tell me how it feels when you read this sentence. Wellness should be easy. When I say wellness is easy, how does that make you feel? Ooh, it's getting sunny, so sunny. I don't like blocking out the sun. I have to leave it to go read the comments. It doesn't feel easy. I know. Overwhelming, yes. Confused. Raina Dawn Lutz's screen. Oh, thanks, Nicole. I'm trying to figure out Zoom still. We're like halfway through and I'm still trying to figure it out. If wellness was easy, everybody would be well. Yes, not easy. Okay, yes. Yes, all of this. Thank you. It is hard to learn on top of daily living. Yes, we're all trying to just stay alive and do our work, and it seems like a whole separate thing, right? It seems like this whole big, huge thing over here. Any other thoughts or feelings around that? Wellness should be easy. Wellness is easy. It's kind of meant to make you annoyed, okay? I'm just going to say that. Yes, yes, Callista, I can. Definitely. Yes, there are barriers. Okay, yes. Okay. So here's something that here's a teaching that I want to share with you. When we're all born, we are born as having wellness as a birthright. We're not, Creator doesn't bring us onto the planet for us to be sick, right? We are allowed to walk through the world feeling healthy and calm and regulated, having a regulated nervous system, and feeling like we have our needs met. Now, our modern society makes that more complex, but let's look at it from the lens of our ancestors, right? They did have it really hard. They had to go hunting for food, and they had to take care of that animal in order to eat it in a way that most people today would absolutely not do. So, but they also lived off the land. They had this beautiful relationship with the land. And wellness was not an industry back then. So their way of life was already more in wellness than a lot of ours today because of the simplicity of it, right? It's just about simplicity. Was there times when they maybe had to fast because there was no food around? Probably. And we know that's not a bad thing. But here's the thing, wellness can be easy because all we have to do is understand the practices around wellness for us. So a lot of times people that I'm working with are very overwhelmed with wellness because of all the information that they are bombarded with. So there's like kitchen stuff and wellness trends and wellness blogs and stuff you have to buy. And then TikTok says this, and there's like a weight loss program that I'm on right now. Okay, all of that is the industry of wellness. But we want to be moving into wellness as a ritual, wellness as something that we practice as a way to honor our ancestry, our ancestors. And that is simple. So we've made it complicated in our mind, but wellness technically is simple. It's about practices. So thank you for participating in that with me and sharing your feelings. I know it can bring stuff up for people, and that's the point, right? That's the point, that today we can get all this out, we can talk about it, we can have these light bulb moments for ourselves around what belief am I holding about this that is maybe not serving me right now? And is there a way that I can shift that? Is there a way that I can hold a different perspective in my body and in my mind about what wellness means and what it can do for me? So I talked earlier about how when I went through my initiation with realizing how much trauma I had and how that was affecting my food choices, that I became more of myself. So one of the things that happens when you become more of yourself is that you're able to actually move away from this idea of foods being good or bad. Now, obviously, you don't have to be a nutritionist to know that ice cream and cake and cookies aren't nourishing, healing foods, and that homemade soup and broccoli is better. But the idea that we're trying to shift here is that if we can tune into our body and the wisdom in our body that we're carrying, our body will guide us to what foods we can eat, what foods we need right now, how much, and whether or not those foods are going to give us what we need right now. So what I want to do is kind of remove a little bit of that pressure to always eat perfect, because a lot of times when we're thinking about wellness or looking at wellness things online, we have guilt that, oh, well, my diet definitely doesn't look like that. You know, my like, oh, or like I can't afford all those beautiful, fresh, healthy foods. And so what I want you to shift into is whatever I'm eating, I'm going to have gratitude for it, and I'm going to pray on that food that it is nourishing my body. And the more that we can practice that gratitude for that food, we're transforming the energy of that food. So even if it's something in this camp over here of ice cream and cake and cookies, if we slow down and tune into our body, that allows us to have that time of realizing, okay, I'm gonna just take a minute here and think about how this food actually feels in my body. I'm not gonna judge myself for choosing it, but I want to listen to my body and see how that feels. Now, when I get my clients to start doing this, really cool things happen. Things that you wouldn't even believe, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I hope you trust me by now. I've had clients say things to me like, I thought I liked ice cream, and I actually don't. I don't actually like the taste of it, and I thought I did. But they had so much of a habit of eating this certain food for a emotional band-aid, they weren't even enjoying the food. So once they slowed down and listened to their body and listened to their taste buds and listened to the stories in their head as they were eating, they realized, wow, I don't need that food anymore. And magical things like that can happen when we tune into our body. So, this is really exciting. We are in a world where we are taught that our body is dysfunctional and that it needs help. But our body carries so much wisdom, and our body is absolutely brilliant. If I cut my finger today, it'll be sealed up by tomorrow, and a couple days later, I won't even know that that happened. Our body is a beautiful machine that heals itself. Now, I want you to look at your body right now. I want you to look at your hands and look at your arms and just take a nice deep breath. And I want you to feel the inside of your hands and your arms and realize that your DNA contains your ancestors. Okay? We are literally walking through the world with our ancestors in us. That's why you might have your great grandma's eyes, or maybe your flat, wide feet, like my grandma's wide feet. Thank you. Maybe you have, a part of your body that when you see pictures of your ancestors, you go, oh, yeah. Oh, I definitely have that of her, her size, her shape, her coloring. And this power that we carry gives us gifts and it gives us guidance. Our body gives us guidance. It's going to give us guidance for wellness. Now, that's the beautiful side of carrying our ancestors, okay? And that's so beautiful and so powerful. And on the other side, we also carry our ancestors' trauma. So this is where the healing comes in. Because we save stress in our nervous system, that can affect our relationship with food. Now, I have some really great stories I want to share with you, but first, I want to hear from you. When you think about foods that bring you joy and give you beautiful memories, and you're like, oh, I love that food because it reminds me of what my grandma used to cook me when I was sick and I was at her house and she nourished me with making me that. And I want you to type that good food into the chat. And then I want you to think about the food that you're like, I can't eat that because it reminds me of XYZ, and you don't have to tell us the trauma, but you can tell us the food. You can say good and bad. You can tell us the food that doesn't feel good, that you're like, I have bad memories with that food. And maybe you don't even know what the memory is around the food. Maybe you can't quite pinpoint what happened or why you don't like that food, but there are going to be foods in our story, in our life story, where we go, yeah, something bad happened. I can't eat that food. And this is just food. There's songs that do this for us, right? There's so many stories that we carry in our body. So I'm going to go to chat because I want to read. Oh, sorry, Angie. I want to read what are foods that make you really happy and what are foods that you would consider a trauma food. I don't want to eat that. I don't like that one. Doesn't feel good. I'm going to give you 1 minute to share with me. Oh, I love cabbage rolls. Black Forest cake. Yes. Thank you, Leanne. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Sabrina. Dutch babies. Jen, Jen, that sounds like a trip to the bathroom once from the grocery store sushi. Do not recommend. Oh, Leanne, same. Canned peaches remind me of my grandma. I have some downstairs in my kitchen and I can't wait to taste them. Oh, fish soup, that's beautiful. That's so healing. Oh, interesting. Wow, thank you so much for sharing all this. So, see, this is so powerful. You already know, you know the pieces. You might not know the full story, but you know the pieces. Okay, so first of all, thank you for sharing. What I want you to do, I asked you to have a pen and paper, okay? So I want you to take one of those pieces of paper and I want you to write down on that paper what your bad food was, what your trauma food was. We are going to do a ceremony around this. Well, we can't quite do it together, but I'm going to get you to do it on your own. We're going to put the energy of our circle into this. So I want you to write that food that you're like, no. Okay, and it doesn't matter what the story is. You're just going to write the food down. Part of your homework for today, after we leave our time together, is you are going to burn this. You are going to put this in a little fire. And as you're doing that, you're telling your body, I don't need to carry that anymore. Okay, this is a very simple ceremony that can be very impactful. And you're doing spirit work when you do that. Thank you, Charlene. Zucchini. I hear ya. Okay. Thank you all so much for your active participation. You are amazing. I'm going to go back to my slide. Okay, so this is beautiful, right? This is so beautiful knowing that we contain within our body our ancestry and foods they liked and foods that nourish them. A really quick story I want to share about this is the first time that I ate bison, I cried. I never ate bison. I never grew up with bison. I didn't grow up with the culture. So only about 5 years ago, when I thought, oh, I'm starting to do my ancestry work, and I know a bison's really important to Métis people. I don't know what that tastes like. I don't even know if I like it. I think I better get some bison. And oh man, it was so expensive. And I did it anyway, and I cooked it up, and I when it entered my body, I had a spiritual experience with that bison. It was so beautiful. And I literally cried because I could feel my ancestors in my body going, yes, more of that, please, more of that. It was so, so beautiful. Now, I don't eat bison all the time. And I don't have friends that hunt bison where I can get it at an affordable rate. But I know that if I'm sick or feeling down or just have some extra money. And oh, do I want to put that money into going to see a movie or blowing it on shopping? No, I'm going to spend it on bison. And then I can nourish my body in a really deep way. Okay, so I want to share with you two stories that talk a little bit more about this good and bad, this dark and light within our body and how we carry our ancestors through our food. So that picture right there is myself and this adorable little homeschooler who was wearing her tutu to class. And this was about 8 years ago, and I was teaching about 20 homeschool kids how to make sauerkraut. They were super fun. They were super engaged. They legitimately wanted to learn about the food and how to make it. And so it was a very hands-on class. We had the kids, I had pre-chopped the cabbage. I don't want to have to police a bunch of kids with knives. So I pre-chopped the cabbage. They did all of the salting and all of the squishing. So to make traditional sauerkraut, it's very easy. You have cabbage and you have salt, and you squish the cabbage down until it gets really juicy because the squishing and pounding the sauerkraut pulls the water out of it. And then the water mixes with the salt and you put the lid on it and you let it sit and nature does the work. So that's traditionally fermented sauerkraut. That's what we were doing today. So we had already squished it down. We were starting to fill the jars, and that was the last little girl who was helping me fill the jars because everyone else had, we had been working on cabbage for about an hour. So all the other kids decided to, run away, and they needed a brain break for sure. And so what happened was I saw this parent, and he was on the other side of the room, and he had kind of been eyeing me up through the whole presentation. And I was talking to the kids about whole foods and about sauerkraut and how powerful it is for us to find foods that our ancestors ate because it's really good for us. And so he's watching me, he's listening, and then at one point, when all the kids started to kind of scramble, he came over to me and he said, "Do you mind if I take a turn?" And I said, "Absolutely, of course. Have at her." And so he starts, he wanted to squish the sauerkraut and then help with the jars. And so as he was doing it though, and I kind of saw his body was moving in a really interesting way. And I had this, whoa, this guy knows sauerkraut. He has an intimate relationship with this food. I never seen that before. And so he's doing it, and he starts getting emotional, and he looks up at me, and he had a tear in his eye. And so I looked down at him and I said, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, my Polish ancestors were deeply connected with this food, and I just can't explain to you what I'm feeling right now because I'm just so happy." And I'm so happy that the kids are learning this and that I can take this home so that we can keep doing this because I can see that my kids are happy too. Like they want to learn, they want to do it. Thank you for sending me the heart. It's such a heart-opening story. It was so beautiful and it was so powerful because I could see his relationship with that food. And so that was so beautiful for me to be able to teach that to them. And I'm assuming that he's still doing it with his kids to this day, kind of like revived it for their family, right? They brought it back in, brought it back home. So that is the beautiful side of carrying our ancestry in our body and having this relationship with the food. When those people and us, when we eat foods that our ancestors ate, they nourish us in such a different way. Like salads nourish me because they're healthy, but bison nourishes my body and my spirit. Okay? So the other side of this now, the protective side, so I put protective as a key word because that's kind of the main point of this story. I had a client years ago, and he came to me with digestive issues, as many of my male clients do. And we got to talking and we're trying to sort of figure out like what is he eating that is giving him these digestive issues? Like, are you eating a lot of pub food, a lot of greasy food? Like kind of trying to pinpoint like why he's having these issues. And as we get to talking, I find out, I find out that he eats bent over his food and he literally protects it. And so I said, and I forget how it came up in the conversation, but I said, well, why do you kind of eat hunched like that? Like, what's up with that? And he goes, well, see, I had four brothers. So growing up, if I didn't protect my food and eat it as fast as possible, I didn't eat. And I'm like, oh, I think we found the root of your problem. So he grew up with stress around every meal because every meal was a trauma of I might not get to eat. So I literally have to do it as fast as possible in order to survive. Now, that might sound a little bit intense or drama, but our nervous system doesn't know the difference between I think this might happen or this is happening, right? So he had a lot of fear every single time he ate a meal with his family. Now, I don't think that you don't need to do the work I do to understand that having fear every time you eat is not a healthy emotion. It's not going to help your body or your spirit as you're trying to digest food. That fear is not a healthy emotion. It's not going to allow our body to digest food properly. So that's the other side of the ancestral trauma because for that client, having stressful mealtime was part of his ancestral story. His parents learned from their generation that poverty equals eat as fast as possible because there's not much and we don't know when the next one's going to be. So understand how different these two things are, and yet they're the same thing. They are ancestral food traumas, and once we look at them and we can understand what they are, then we can start healing them. Understand where they came from. Okay, so fundamentals. This is why I said that wellness could be, should be, is easy. Because wellness, if you remove the industry of wellness, wellness is easy. It's eating, it's staying hydrated, it's getting exercise, and it's having our spiritual food or doing ceremony. So spiritual food is like having our spiritual practices, doing our prayers, doing our smudge, being in community, being out in the land. Okay, so wellness fundamentals away from the industry of wellness, the one that wants to make you feel stress and fear around what wellness should be for you. If you just look at it through that lens and take the ancestral lens to it, they ate, they drank water, they had exercise built into their day, right, into their lives, and they had community and that reciprocal, beautiful relationship with the land. So that spirit work. So that's how wellness should feel, is that we're moving into it naturally and that we're practicing it as a ritual. Not that it's this whole other separate system over here that we don't get to access or can't access. I've had a time in my life where I was homeless and didn't have much money and was having severe mental health issues. And I still managed to take care of myself because even through all that, I knew even if I just do a 20-minute walk today and I eat a little bit and I drink my water, I'm practicing wellness. And what if it's not more complicated than that? And so even at the lowest point in my life where I did not want to be on this planet anymore, I was still able to practice wellness. And I know you can too. That's why you're here. You have that hunger to do so. And we already have our body to help us do it. So we already have this amazing technology in our body that's going to help us do that. Okay, so the two tools that I'm going to give you today, so you're going to have a few things to walk away with today. You're going to have a tool to practice, and then you're going to have your piece of paper to burn. Those are your homework pieces. So on the other piece of paper that you have, I want you to write down portion control and I want you to write down mindfulness. So here's something really exciting I want to tell you. A lot of people back in the day when I was only a nutritionist, people would say to me, my biggest struggle is portion control. And I recognized after I went through my healing, my understanding of food from a different lens, I recognized all we're seeing when we feel that we don't have any sense of control over our portions, all that means is that we're not tuned into our body. Okay? We have a built-in portion control tracker. It's our stomach. Our stomach tells us, I'm almost full, slow down. Oh, I'm too full. I'm stuffed. I'm uncomfortable. And all we have to do is watch our stomach for that place. It's built in to tell us when to stop eating. Now, this is where mindfulness comes in because if we notice that we're noticing that signal from our stomach and we're going, yeah, I don't care. And then we keep eating. Oh, now we recognize, oh, I'm doing emotional eating because I can hear the signal telling me to stop, and yet I keep eating. And now I'm stuffed and uncomfortable, but it was a way for me to eat my feelings. So we already have that built into our body as a mechanism for us to control our own portions. And it's also an interesting symptom of our society that we even struggle with portion control because what that means is that we have so much excess that we don't know when to stop. So that's an interesting problem that our ancestors didn't really have. They didn't have as much as we do. And so the tuning into our stomach is a way for us to listen to the body, learn what it's saying, learn our own cues, right? My cue between the stomach and my mind, which is my vagus nerve, will talk and say, yeah, we're getting there, we're almost full. My cue might be a little bit different than yours. So we might be eating the same amount of food on a plate, and I might get that cue when there's only 80% left, or sorry, when there's only 20% left on the plate, but you might get it earlier or later. And that's okay because our bodies are so different. They have different needs. And the person you're sharing that plate with might have already had more food that day, or their body might have different needs. And so we also want to be really cautious about not telling people like, oh, you need to eat more or you need to eat less. No, we need to teach our kids and the next generation how to tune in and listen to their own body to be their guidance for how much food they need to eat. Okay, we're already at 1 o'clock, but I want to take a little bio break before I tell you the next tool. And it's my favorite one, and we're going to practice it together, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be so beautiful, and it's going to give you what I hope you came for here today. And it's a beautiful practice that you're gonna get to use over and over and over again to help you continue this journey of healing your relationship with food. So can we take a 3 to 5 minute bio break? You can have some water, you can go to the bathroom, whatever you need. If you want to go outside and take a breather, just kind of like let set in what we've been working on today and then come back. Let's just say 5 minutes. So we'll give you 5 minutes and then we'll all gather back here together again. Okay, does that sound good? Send me a
Sounds
little
good.
react. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Leanne. Yeah, that's a really common one. Um, I will address that in the next piece. Okay, 5 minutes. Mm. That's an interesting one, Patricia. Yeah, some people, it's interesting because some people go that way. Some people go that way, and then some people go eating too much. And from a health perspective, what you're doing is actually better because if we're putting a bunch of food into our body when we're really stressed, it's actually very, very hard on our body. So fasting when we're stressed technically is smarter. And I feel that that's your body's way of not harming it more, right? Like it's like I need a break from work. And if we don't eat, our body has to work less. So even though it might be seen as like a problem, to me, that's like your body's actually protecting you and trying to work less so that you have more energy for the emotional stuff that's coming up. Mm, still don't want that. Hope that helps, Patricia. And I mean, it's really hard for me to, if you're still there, it's really hard for me to give advice on this, right? Because I don't know what's going on with each person that comments, and I can only give like very general advice, but like, you know, uh, to know more about why people are asking certain questions takes time. But, for instance, if people are, there's so many reasons why people might be not having an appetite, right? So kind of knowing why that's happening is really important. But if you are already aware that it's from emotions, then that's your answer right there. That's beautiful, and I'm really happy that today I can share with you a tool to help you heal that. Calista, I used to be able, like when we first came on, I had my screen going and then I could also see like participants in chat and I just just can't figure out how to get back there.
The chat, you mean?
Like I used to be able to see my full screen within the Zoom screen and then also see the chat. And I don't know what I did to get rid of that, but it's not the same.
Um, do you want to try sharing your full screen again? I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not.
Oh, content only as background side by side. Oh, maybe that's it.
Side by side view just makes your profile picture beside what you're screen sharing.
You'd think, like, I grew up on computers, you'd think I'd understand this. I don't.
You might have to pop the chat out, like in a separate window.
Pop the chat out in a separate window.
Yeah.
Like, do you see when you're not screen sharing, you'll see like, and you open the chat, it's like in a bar on the right-hand side of your screen, and beside the X, there's a box with an arrow that says pop out if you
Mm,
hover over it.
I don't see that. This is weird.
You
Anyways.
you probably have to stop screen sharing to see it.
Oh, okay, then what? Sorry, what was it?
So on the bottom menu, you see the chat button.
Yeah.
Click that. Can you see the chat on the side now?
Yep.
Okay, so the top of the chat box, beside the X to close it, there's a little box with an arrow that says pop out.
Pop out. I got it.
Okay, so now it's in a separate window. So when you go to share your screen, you should hopefully be able to see that.
Okay,
Although when you screen share, oftentimes it just takes up your whole screen. I don't know.
we're learning together.
Usually I can't see the chat when I'm presenting, so I don't even know how you did that before.
I know it was a miracle. And then it went away.
Magic.
I accidentally clicked a button I shouldn't have. All right, everyone, give me a high five or a heart, please, if you're back and we can get back into it. I'm so excited to share this with you. Yay.
If it helps,
Beautiful.
we can read comments for you.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so I just shared with you the portion control. That is a really powerful tool. Take it, use it. All you have to do is think about your stomach while you're eating. And sometimes that requires us to put our phones down or turn the TV off if we're eating. My chef friend likes to say, eat your food, not your phone. And he doesn't say it in a really sassy way like that because he's a dad. So I like to think about that when people are like, well, how do I do that? Well, it's just a choice. Where am I putting my consciousness right now? Am I putting my consciousness and my focus onto my food? Or am I going to be like doom scrolling Instagram and having fear in my body while I'm trying to nourish myself? So that's really, really important that we think about how we're eating instead of so much focus on what we're eating. And that's one of the things that I want you to take away from today is like, how am I eating? How do I participate in my relationship with food? Because the way we participate in that relationship is also how we participate in our relationship with the land and with ourself. Are we trying to escape things? Or do we want to be present and heal and have that consciousness? So that because when we heal our food stuff, we heal it for the next generation, right? And this is something really cool that I've seen with my clients is like if they have kids, they're like, I don't want to be dieting all the time because now I'm teaching my teenagers that dieting is the only way. And I really just want to focus on health and wellness so that they can understand that that's what life is about, not about strict dieting and rules and stress around food. So when you take this on, you're also doing that intergenerational healing for the next generation. You're taking all the stuff that those bless you ancestors, thank you, but also thanks for that, all the trauma, when you heal it, when you're the cycle breaker and you end that and you end dieting and stress around food in your lineage, you also end that for everyone after you because they will see you have a healthy relationship with food and you taught them how to do that. And maybe even better if they're a bit older and they watched you go from dieting and obsession to nourishment and appreciating your body and having gratitude. How beautiful would that be if they could see that and you could be that cycle breaker and you can today. So I want to talk to you about the power of mindfulness because that's the big tool that we're going to walk away with today. And I'm so excited to teach it to you because it's a tool that you can do anywhere, anytime, with any food, and it's free. This doesn't cost you anything. So the snack that you have, the snack that you've brought today, I want you to get it closer to you because we're going to be using that soon. No snacking yet. No, 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 no. I know it looks good and we all want to eat it, but just wait because we're almost there. So here's the power of mindfulness that I want to tell you and teach you about so that you can go, oh, wow, I get it. So we have, let's imagine, two plates in front of us. And on one plate is this beautiful salad with local salmon in it and maybe some berries and some sauerkraut. And we've even put spices in it. Like it is a gourmet salad. It's so beautiful and it's so healthy. We know that it's so healthy and nourishing for us. Okay, that's one plate. Over on this plate, we have a sloppy, cheesy Big Mac. Okay. Now, I want you to consider how you're eating these things. If you eat that plate of salad and it's a beautiful meal, but you are on the phone and you're doom scrolling and then someone's calling you over here and you're, oh, we're having a fight, we're having an argument. Oh, I'm stressed. I've got all these meetings tomorrow and I have to pick up the kids and I have to do 100 other things in the next 24 hours and I didn't get enough sleep last night. Okay, all that is happening with that plate of salad. Our digestive system cannot function with that level of stress. It literally shuts down. So our digestive system isn't going to be able to absorb the nutrients from that healthy food because we're so stressed. Here's the crazy part. We go over to this plate with our sloppy, cheesy Big Mac, and you're like, wow, I get to eat today. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Creator, for this food. Thank you for blessing this food and giving it what I need, what my body needs today. Thank you so much for all of the people involved in bringing all the pieces of this food to this plate today so that I could nourish my body and that I can walk through the rest of my day with the energy that this food is giving me. Then you take a nice deep breath and you smile and you eat your sloppy Big Mac in deep gratitude. You are going to get more nutrition from the Big Mac because you are in the right nervous system for digesting food. Now, this is not my way of promoting Big Macs. This is my way of teaching you how powerful our nervous systems are and how powerful it is for us to be in the relaxed one. So we call it rest and digest. If you're rested, you can digest your food better, no matter what it is. And you'll get more nutrients from it because your digestive system will be functioning better, be able for you to absorb anything that's in it, even if it's less than the healthy food. Okay, that's how powerful this is. I'm so excited to show you that. I love that. So I want you to look at that little snack you brought, and we're going to do our mindful eating practice together, okay? This is only going to take a few minutes, and then I just have another slide to get through, and then we can open for questions if you want questions. So I want you to look at that food, take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Soften your shoulders. Let any tension in your jaw or your forehead slide away. And I want you to notice what's happening in your body and your mind as you look at that food. What does that food make you think of? What is it making your mind think of? How is it making your body feel? What's happening? Now, as we go through this mindfulness practice or intuitive eating, I want you to understand that you can't think or do anything wrong today. We're simply practicing observing what's happening when we eat. Okay? So now I want you to grab your little snack, and we're not going to eat it yet. I want you just to smell it. You can close your eyes, and maybe you have something that doesn't smell, but see if connecting it closer to your body brings up anything, any memories, any thoughts, any visuals, visions. What is happening in your body and mind when you smell that food? And now I want you to put your snack in your mouth, but you're not going to chew yet. No chewing. Just let it sit there. And as it mingles in your mouth, what are you feeling in your body? What are you feeling in your body? What are you feeling in your mind? What's happening? And notice, just notice that your mind is going, yeah, okay, it's time to chew. Hello, can we get to the chewing part? Because our body knows how to do this. So you're like, okay, you're right. Thank you, body. We're going to start chewing it. Now, I don't want you to swallow. We are only chewing. And we're going to chew and chew and chew. And you're going to go, oh my gosh, can you just let me have this food? But we're going to chew it so well that your body is going to automatically start moving it down because it wants that food, it wants that nourishment. But I want you to keep chewing. Chew, chew, chew. And I want you to think about how you eat. If you think about how you eat, are you already a slow eater? Or are you a person who is already scooping the next bite while the first one's still there? So this is just a practice of slowing down and listening to our body. Are you tired of chewing yet? And see if there's anything, any perceptions of this food or the smell or the visions you had around it. What's shifting as you chew it? What is shifting as it gets softer and pastier and squishier? Okay, good. Amazing. So now we're going to swallow and we're going to go, oh, thank you. That feels so good to nourish my body this way. And I can feel the food moving down my esophagus and into my stomach, where my portion control is now, oh, it's just moved up a little bit. Okay, take a nice deep breath. You have just practiced mindful eating. And you did amazing. Send me a heart. Send me a thumbs up if you liked this practice, if you participated in it. And I'm so excited to hear if you have any comments on that. Now, in the chat, someone had brought up the concept of not being able to, or sorry, feeling like they had to finish their plate because that's what they were taught, right? A lot of my clients struggle with that because a lot of us come from war babies. And when they had rations of their food back then, you were taught that you had to finish your plate. Now, this is the perfect example of an ancestral food trauma because we do not have government rations for our food today. We might have our own restrictions on how much food we eat based on finance, etc., but we don't have war rations. So that's a really interesting one. And it's one that I've explained to people. Here's how to help that. Along partnered with mindfulness, right? And listening to our body, you can stop at any time and you can put your plate in the fridge or the oven and you can finish it later because we have these tools that they didn't have back then. We had we have refrigeration now. And so we do have the ability to, oh, I'm full. I don't want to finish my plate. I'm full. My stomach says so. I'm going to finish this later or pack it away and maybe finish it tomorrow whenever I need. Now, depending on how good that food is, sometimes we'll think, oh, this will be a really good snack in 2 hours. And, it's like 3 minutes later, you're like, or now, I'm ready for it now. So thank you for sharing that. I believe that was Leanne that shared that. So thank you so much. And just do this mindful eating and listen to the stomach, listen to what it needs, when it wants to stop. And there is no requirement for you to finish your plate. That you can add that. You can add that to your food that we're going to burn as a ceremony from today. The trauma food, the bad one. You can add that. Finishing my plate, feeling forced to finish my plate, add that to your list and burn that because you don't need to carry that anymore. Your focus is on your body's needs, and we don't have to have that anymore. Okay, so I'm going to breeze through this because it's basics. Whole foods better than processed foods. Most people know that. And our ancestors only ate whole foods. They didn't have frozen foods. They didn't have 7-Eleven taquitos. They didn't have so much of the stuff that we put in our bodies today that is not nourishing in any way. So as much as possible, we want to focus on whole foods. And I know people will say, but vegetables are very expensive. And I understand that perspective. And I also think of the time when I was homeless, living in my van, and I was able to eat my vegetables and my fruit because I prioritized that. I prioritized those foods over anything else because I knew that good food was going to help me. It was going to help my mental health. It was going to help my body. It was going to help me heal the autoimmune disease that I had that was flaring all the time. And I also knew that I wasn't spending my money on other stuff that was harming me. I wasn't spending my money elsewhere. I was spending my money where I could choose wellness. And I didn't every time. Of course not. We're never going to be perfect. And I don't want you to try to be perfect at all. I want you to bring in a traditional food that your ancestors ate. Talk to your parent, grandparent, find a family tree, find where your people were, learn what they would have been eating at that time, in that time of the world, in that place of the world, and see if you can bring in more or even just one of those traditional foods. And if it's one that you haven't had before, I hope you have the experience that I had with bison, where you just feel, wow, wow, I can literally feel the ancestors in my cells celebrating this food that is so beautiful and nourishing. And I want you to consider eating seasonally. That is a way for us to keep food more affordable as well. When we have lots of food in abundance in the summer, whether you're getting it from the food bank or the farmer's market, you can stock up, you can do a chopping morning, and you can freeze food and put it away for when times are harder and you need fresh food but can't get it. You have it frozen. We have these amazing tools today, like refrigeration and freezers, and we can stockpile and we can have frozen foods that were from that season frozen and ready to go for us for next time. 80/20 is my reminder that we want to be thinking about, it's a generous 80. It's like It could be 75, it could be 90 on certain days. And I love humans so much because every time I teach this, someone goes, excuse me, do you mean 80% of the week we eat good or 80% of the day we eat good? And then someone else is like, well, is it 80% of a month we eat good? Okay, I love it. I love you guys and I love our, type A. Let's get this right. I love that. It's so great. However, the reality is, I don't care how you do it. You can do it by the day. You can do it however you want. It's just a generalization of 80% of the time, I want to be nourishing my body with whole foods, as close to nature as possible. And 20% of the time, I can eat whatever junk food that is going to fuel my soul or help me celebrate my family or my friends. And I'm going to have that birthday cake and I'm going to have that cake with my friend who just hit 20 years sober. And I'm going to have that thing that is bringing me into more of myself. That is a human celebration, even though it might not look nourishing. Okay, so that's another piece of your homework is you're going to find a traditional food that you might not have had in your diet before, and you're going to incorporate that into your diet moving forward after today. That's what we just did. We did alchemy. We took all our food stuff and we said, that's okay. I'm putting that to the side and I'm going to be present with this food right now and I'm going to experience it in a new way because I'm slow and I'm chewing and I'm feeling my body as I eat it. And what a beautiful way to experience our food. And I'm really grateful to you for being here today to have this wellness experience with me because that's what we're doing, right? I don't want to just stand here and lecture about eating more carrots. Boring. I want you to experience your food so that you can change your relationship with it. And we all have the power to do that. So these are your homework pieces. You already have a portion control in your body and it's free. We got it at birth. Wow, thank you. I have a stomach. Not only does it help me break down all the food that I take in, it also tells me when to stop eating because it tells me when I'm almost full, tells me when I'm full, and it tells me, hey, we are way over full. You're done now. We have the practice of mindfulness where we took deep breaths and we really calmed down and got into the practice of wellness. That's a ritual. That is a ritual and a practice that you can now take with you today and into your life and on with the rest of your weeks and months forward. And an ancestral food that is going to connect you deeper with yourself and the ancestors that you carry within your body. Okay. Here we go. It's question era. If you have anything, pop in the chat or want to put your hand up. I'm gonna go read the comments. What happens if you automatically swallowed? That's okay, Callista. It
I
happens.
was eating a raspberry and it was really juicy and I couldn't help it. It's just my tongue.
Yeah, it's gonna disintegrate. You can't control that.
Um, just for folks, because I know we're at time and lots of people probably need to sign off and get on
Yep,
with their day. I just wanted to thank you, Raina, for coming and sharing your passion and your knowledge and your stories. It was really wonderful. So thank you so much for coming today, and I hope that everybody else enjoyed it. This is probably one of the most engaging webinars we've had, so it was really, really fabulous. I enjoyed it a lot, so thank you.
of course. Oh, I did. Oh, it's 1:30 on the dot. Awesome.
On
Yeah,
the dot.
if you have to move on with your day, please. But otherwise, I'm happy to hang out for a bit and chat. Um, Also, if anything came up for you today and you want to ask me a question, but it's like not really for a public chat, feel free to send me an email. I'm just gonna dump my email in the chat right